In the early spring this year, when snow was still on the ground, I made myself a promise that I will paint as much in plein air as I possibly can. And plein air in French means in open air. That means you're painting outdoors from direct observation. So far, we've been blessed with great weather, and I'm always trying to catch either really early morning sunlight or the golden light of the evening glow. This painting was created in the end of April, and as you can see, greens are just starting to pop. It is always exciting to find new locations for painting, and of course, I'm always looking for the water scene and reflections. And this time, I'm painting with two of my friends. This beautiful landscape had a lot of information, but I wanted to simplify my composition and concentrate mainly on a strong morning light, long shadows, and really high chroma in my colors. I'm still experimenting with recipes on how to mix greens. Still not using any green straight from the tube. I'm using different yellows and Payne's gray and also even black to create a differentiation in my greens. And here's the finished result of my morning study. I absolutely enjoyed painting this scene, and I knew that I want to go back at the same spot and paint it again during the golden hour. This time I headed back with a small group of enthusiastic students. It was amazing to see how colors had changed in just 1 week. So even though I was painting the same scene, my vision and my results were completely different. So why I paint outdoors? For me is to enrich my observational skills, to understand color and to learn to mix what I see, as well as I build the efficiency of my brushwork and become more confident with mark makings. During my last and plein air session, I've noticed an interesting thing. When I work in the studio on the landscape, I normally go from top to bottom. So I cover the whole sky, I build the clouds, then I go into middle ground, then the foreground. In plein air, it's completely the opposite because the light is changing so fast, and I really want to capture that light and make sure it's in a good position. Then I built my shadows, then any possible thing that will be shifting as the light is changing, and only then I go into details. In my plein air studies, I work in alla prima technique. Alla prima is Italian for at the first. That means you're working wet on wet. The idea is that each stroke, once made, it's final. You don't go back to it. Well, don't go back to it much. That's why it's really important in this first application to put your colors quite thinly and then build structure and thickness with every stroke. Stiff bristle brushes work the best for this kind of technique, but this time I decided to try something a little different. In this study, I have used bristle brushes and flats, which is quite unusual for me. And also I have tried soft synthetic brushes, different sizes and shapes. I have to say, it was quite an experience and I think I'm loving it. So experimenting as much as you can is really a key in this process. The more you experiment, the more you go into unknown territory. It pushes you to think differently and results will be amazing. There are times that I'm extremely excited to paint outdoors, but when I get at the location, I get uninspired, frustrated, and anxiety kicks in. And what to do then? Pack up and go? No. There are ways to get over it. If something like that happens, I put physical limitation to my process to bring and spark that creativity back. I challenge myself to work only in 2 or 3 colors, or use only one brush to create a whole painting, or use unusual surface. I also put a time limit to my study, let's say half an hour or 40 minutes tops. And when the timer goes off, I actually stop and see what happens. Yes, it creates somewhat of pressure, but it takes an edge on my other anxiety to create a piece that will stand out. It is just an exercise, and in the end, it's all about the process, not so much about finished result. And trust me, there are many paintings that I have created that will never see a daylight. At the same time, I can't call them scratches or waste of my time. To me, there is no such a thing as a failure when it comes down to an plein air painting. I always take out something out of the whole process and experience. I take these mistakes and I turn them into a focal point in my upcoming paintings. Oh, and by the way, any tool works when you're painting outdoors. Dry grass, twigs, everything works. I truly believe that this particular session will be carved in my head for years to come. It was an amazing experience, listening to birds and the quietness of the nature, and look at this sunset. I was so inspired that I had to go back the next day during daytime and I created another piece. This one is much tighter and it did take me a little bit longer. It's more process strokes and applications, but I love this one as well. If you enjoyed this video, push that like button right now and make sure to subscribe to my channel. See you next time!